with my dad's guidance and seeing how he's used AI to solve these problems for firms or just people in general, I was like, what if I incorporated AI into mental health as well and bridge this gap between psychology and AI and see what I can do with that to solve this issue.
Welcome to the Tippie Leads podcast, stories from the University of Iowa's Tippie College of Business that will change the way you work and lead. I'm your host, Nick Westergaard. I teach at Tippie and lead our Story Lab program. This podcast provides another opportunity to share stories from Tippie with our community and beyond. This season, we've explored artificial intelligence from many angles, from transforming hiring in HR to reshaping social media, predicting markets, and helping us manage information. In our season finale, we focus on a more personal application, how AI can support teen mental health. We'll hear from Tippie's AI expert Patrick Fornatto, joined by his high school-age son Winston, who share a special father-son project aimed at promoting teen mental wellness. Later, we'll hear from Tippie alum Patrick Fornatto, whose own journey highlights resilience, mental health, and the student-led program Tippie Thrive. And finally, we'll bring it all together with a final Tip E just for you. Ready? Let's get started. Patrick Fornatto is a Henry B. Tippie Excellence Chair Professor in Business Analytics at the University of Iowa. His research focuses on designing and developing novel information technologies, AI, information retrieval, data mining, natural language processing, and social media analytics to support better business information management and decision-making. He has pioneered applications of AI in areas such as search engine ranking optimization, financial statement risk assessment, quality analytics, crowdfunding evaluation, and product innovation discovery. His research has been published in top ITISOM journals with more than 21,200 citations, and he frequently consults for Fortune 500 companies. Joining him today is his son, Winston Fornatto, to talk about a collaborative project using AI to promote teen mental health and emotional resilience. This interview is a bit of a Tippie Leads first because we have both a father and son on the podcast. So I want to start with the father side of that with Patrick. So you've been working at the intersection of AI and better decision making for years. Everything from programming for search engines to using text analysis for businesses. What connects all of this work for you?
So one of the things that I always feel passionate about is that how we can leverage AI to benefit the society. So I've been trying to applying information technology, AI, and for example, natural language processing to understand, the data and then to basically, extract value from the data and then try to benefit the users and also benefit the firms and then benefit the society. So that's essentially my research stream. We are trying to, create values, from the data and then so that the firm and the users can benefit. This is essentially the driving force behind all my research.
So for someone that's been working on this for so long, when you look at the AI landscape of today, what feels different than when you first began looking at AI?
So I can tell you there's a dramatic difference nowadays compared to the things like 25 years ago. When I started on this AI journey, when I was a PhD student at the University of Michigan, uh, there's a lot of tools which are available now and does not even exist at that time. So when I do my AI, for example, AI project, I have to do this kind of a coding, using the programming language. Probably many of you may have never heard it before. Like for example, Lisp programming or Prolog programming. So basically, that's kind of the programming language we are trying to, write code and then try to basically practice how we can use the AI to perform like a chain of thoughts and those type of reasoning process. So a lot of this effort, in terms of knowledge representation, in coding and then searching, we have to do a lot of this human, coding from the programmer side. Now, nowadays, however, if you think about these generative AI tools that are widely available, and then people can just use the Gen AI tools to produce all kinds of code, for the analyst or for the non-professional programmers. So basically, I think they have leveled the coding requirement from that aspect, and then everybody can starting to use the Gen AI tools and then become like to become like analyst, become like AI professional potentially. They can use this type of tools to help them to perform all kinds of analytical work. So to me, that's the big difference, between what I have 25 years ago versus what is happening right now.
Well, and speaking of AI and practice, I want to bring Winston in here. You and your dad are working on a project that is very personal, and I wondered if you could share a little bit about your experience as a student athlete and how it led to this idea.
Yeah, so being a part of the West High swim team, I think around 2 or 3 years ago, we had a suicide on the swim team. A very important, or not, yeah, on the swim team, and he was like very important to us. I would say I wasn't very close with him myself because I just moved to Iowa City, but I know a lot of people around me were greatly affected. And so seeing this, I was like, kind of like it sparked my interest in the mental health field, right? I wasn't really too much knowledge about it. And so I wanted to do more research when it came to mental health. And I discovered that, so many people around the world suffer from it. Everybody around us suffers from some kind of mental health issue going through their days. And I just wanted to know, like, what sparks these problems, what's causing these problems, and what can I do to solve them? And I just wanted to be able to leave an impact on the world and like find a way to help society in some sort of small way. And so with my dad's guidance and seeing how he's used AI to solve these problems for firms or just people in general, I was like, what if I incorporated AI into mental health as well and bridge this gap between psychology and AI and see what I can do with that to solve this issue?
So either one of you can jump in here, but when it comes to kind of that gap that you were talking about, Winston, between this mental health need that is so apparent for so many, and how large language models could potentially help. How do you close that gap? How does this actually work?
Yeah. When presenting my AI project to a lot of those science fair competitions that I competed in, the state science fair or the international one, I got a lot of questions like that where, it's a great application, a great product, but like, how would, you actually implement this into the real world? And a lot of it, I feel like from my end, from using AI and experimenting with it, is people need to understand how it truly works. I think it's when people hear AI, they think it's a very daunting thing, like a robot or something that's untrustworthy. But when it comes to creating an AI, or when using one, you need to understand how it works and how it came to be. And a lot of it is like the data that you train it on. And if you can understand that the data is accurate and it's validated by psychologists and stuff like that, then people start to trust AI more. And if the psychologists are pushing the AI application to other patients, and then I feel like it's like more of like a trust issue. And so if we can allow people to trust AI and the application that we're presenting to them, we can kind of bridge that gap.
Patrick, as a parent, I know it's like when your kids have a cool idea, but what if when it's a cool idea that is really connected to your work as well? So when Winston first brought this up, what were your first thoughts? Was it parent AI expert, both?
Well, I think for me, as a parent, I want my son, for example, to gain some experience, from doing this research, and by talking to him and understanding where he's coming from, and I think I understand this is going to be a very very important research topic. So I starting to basically think about from my perspective as an AI researcher, how can I provide some help to him? So I starting to maybe take some research online to look at the mental health research because I know this area a little bit, but I still did some background research and then find out there's a lot of explored territory in terms of mental health research. There are some tools out there. There's some data out there. Some of the data has been annotated, but still there's a large, unexplored territory. For example, there's not a much research has been done, for example, about the loneliness, aspect. And then there's a lot of models has not been fully evaluated and tested. So that's where I feel like I can potentially work with my son and to guide him in terms of developing for example, a large language model, for mental health, and then we are going to try to tackle this issue from different specific areas. We're starting from the major area called loneliness detection. So this is where I think we are in Tippie. We have some, great expertise like, Amy Colbert, Emily, Champion. They both has been, very instrumental in this area. So when, I brought, Winston, talk to them, and then they basically provide some background information and then to him so that he got excited about this, because he realized, oh, right now in terms of mental health, it's not only for high schoolers. Mental health could be an issue, for example, for the employees, as well.
Right.
So this is dramatically broaden the potential applications for the approach that we are adopting. So to me, I just want him to go through this kind of a process and then try to broaden his potential application ideas, and then he find a way how can he come up with an approach that potentially could be deployable across these different application areas.
So, as we talk about deploying this, Winston, what kind of things do you hear from your peers, kind of your casual market research on students being open to using AI when it comes to mental health?
So, like, what do my friends think about using AI on mental
Yeah,
health?
yeah. It's just for a generation that is so kind of AI first, it's the environment that you're all growing up in, as opposed
Yeah.
to someone older like me is like, oh, would I do this for that?
Yeah.
Just kind of wonder generationally what
Mhm.
you hear.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think our generation, or my generation, is definitely more open to using AI. I mean, kids in my grade and in the classes below me or the classes above are just using AI in their everyday lives, like ChatGPT, all these open AI sources. They constantly use it throughout their daily lives. Um, and so a lot of the times these days when kids suffer from mental health, they are too afraid of seeking help, or they're scared of going to a psychologist and then actually being diagnosed, and they're scared to find out things, right? And so if we can create a mental health AI that is really trustworthy in this process, and like kind of like an aid bot, I feel like kids these days would be more open to that than going in person and explaining all their issues to a psychologist. So I mean, it's a good question. I think once again it comes to the trust thing, is like, am I really talking to a robot right now and stuff like that? So I think, yeah, it's a good question.
Patrick, when you talked about the unexplored territory here around this, are there ethical challenges when applying AI to something that is so personal?
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely one of the major issues when you try to use AI for mental health research, and that's also the questions people are going to bring it up. How do you address these ethical issues? when you try to do this AI for mental health research. I think from my perspective, it's like, first of all, we have to, give the users the options, to give us the permission, to use the data. Okay, so when we start on this research, we are not using, for example, the clinical data, because we do not have the permission to use that. We have to get the permission for every individual. So what we are trying to do for this research, we are trying to basically using this public available data. Like for example, we have this Reddit data, which is public available online. Anybody can see that, and then there's a subreddit within the Reddit platform where users exchange ideas, share their concerns, anxieties, bipolar disease, depressions, loneliness, things like that. And especially if you watch the content exponentially grow, during this pandemic period, where a lot of users, went online, they share, their experiences. So to us, as a social scientist, as a researcher, we feel like this is a very rich, kind of a data set. And when we try to using this public available data set, the ethical issue is not there. Okay, this is public available, so we can overcome this issue. But I think the goal for Vincent and me is like, can we leverage this public available data and then develop a tool that could potentially be, used, for example, in a clinical or counseling sessions. Of course, you're gonna get the permission from them, and then be able to transcribe the conversations, and then let the AI tools go there, perform this assessment, diagnosis, maybe come up with some data points where gonna help the psychologists or counselors to do this thing called a recall. They can recall what the patient have said, and then which ones are the warning signs or the warning sentences that the doctors or the counselor should be aware of. So to me, I feel like that's gonna be where the value gonna come in. So we are developing the tool using public available data without invading the user privacy, and then at the same time, we are trying to do the thing called transfer learning. We transfer the tools and to be used counseling or psychology kind of environment. So that's where we see the value going to be. And then of course, down the road, we have to think about it in different use cases. And for example, we are working with Emily Champion and then also with Amy Colbert. We are trying to see, can we, for example, using our tools and then try to see, can we do this thing called employee well-being kind of a screening. So that's going to be the next step. Once we have the tool finalized, and then we're going to do more of this kind of a field experiment, and then try to do the evaluations.
So where is the project at right now in terms of development and overall status?
So Winston has finished the initial demo, and he has participated at the International Science Fair, and he has won the 4th category award. So to me, this is his part is done. He has learned enough in this research project. But for me, I want to take it over as a researcher. So for me, I already assembled a team at Tippie. I have 2 PhD students are working on this project right now, and then I have also like 2 master students are helping me to annotate more data that's available from the Reddit. So our goal is to potentially create a toolkit, make it public available and locally deployable, so that anybody who are interested in this kind of mental health research, they can potentially use our data, which are annotated, and they can train their models if they want, and then also they can use our pre-trained models, and then try to basically do this kind of a healthcare or employee, this kind of a well-being kind of screening. So to me, we want to make this whole thing public available so that more people, more researchers, psychologists, social science researchers, they can benefit from this.
All right, I want to ask you both the same question. So, Winston, what have you learned from working with your dad on this project?
I think I've learned a lot. I've learned how patient he is with me, but I've also learned how successful he is in the many works that he's completed, the many papers he's written. I've never really seen my dad in like an academic light. He's always just been like the parent guardian, the guy who takes me to my sports, to my swimming lessons. But seeing his true, like, how smart he is, and how I don't know, just he's taught me so much through this whole process. I've learned so much from him, and seeing this different side of him has definitely been amazing. I love this experience. Yeah, it was amazing.
And Patrick, what have you learned?
So I learned that I have to be patient with him as well. And then sometimes, a kid is a kid, sometimes, he has to be pushed, right? I mean, sometimes because he's very busy with swimming practice, you can imagine, he spends so much time on that. He got tired, and then I have to think about it, find a way to encourage him, and also sometimes he got stuck on some of the, research, implementations, and then I have to basically find a way to help him. And we work together as a team, and not only as a father and a son, more like a teammate. We work together and then try to get things accomplished. I think in the end, when I saw that he can, successfully, went through the local, regional level competition, and then to the state level, and then to the international level, to me as a dad, as a father, I feel so happy and also very proud of, his accomplishment. I think, he has matured from this whole project, and then also he learned how to do research, cutting edge research as a young man. So to me, I think that's the main goal I want to provide for him.
Hearing from Patrick and his son Winston offered a unique perspective on how AI can support teen mental health, highlighting both the potential of technology and the human connection that makes it meaningful. Next, we'll hear from Tippie alum Patrick Fornatto, who shared his story at the Spring 2024 Story Lab Showcase in Iowa City. His story continues on this theme of mental health, detailing his own struggles and how he became involved with Tippie Thrive, the student-led initiative focused on emotional and mental wellness.
I woke up in my bed one morning in my fraternity house, and I knew I had to change my life. It was towards the end of my sophomore year, and I'd come to the sudden realization that I'd spent the first 2 years of college partying and not making the most of my college experience. Coming into my freshman year at the University of Iowa, I had really high aspirations. I want to make good grades, make a lot of friends, and make the most of my time on campus. However, there was one big obstacle standing in between me and achieving these goals, and that was the COVID-19 pandemic. While many of these opportunities still existed, they were a lot more difficult to do, and I really didn't like the idea of them being virtual. However, still being a really outgoing person, I decided to rush a fraternity like many other young freshmen do. Going into the rush process, I knew, of course, of the stereotypical culture of being in a fraternity, lots of partying. But I didn't fully understand it until I joined, and it was amplified even further because I didn't party much in high school. Joining a fraternity at first had many positives. I met a lot of new friends that I could do homework with and study with, work out, play basketball or golf with, and just hang out at the house with the guys. I also met a lot of other people in different fraternities and girls and sororities. And last but not least, I got to experience an infamous night out in Iowa City. Going out a lot was a lot of fun, and I have a lot of good memories from it. Probably too many. But doing this for the majority of 2 years and going out sometimes 3, 4, 5 times a week really started to take a toll on me. I never had a coming down, crashing down moment where I hit rock bottom. I never got arrested, never went to the hospital for alcohol poisoning, nor did I have a big falling out with friends. But many of these negative consequences were really subtle and set upon me gradually. My physical health was deteriorating, my grades started to drop, and my mental health was deteriorating as well. Laying in my bed that morning, I didn't know exactly what to do, so I started to think of a few people I could reach out to who were in different organizations and clubs on campus. Eventually, a few names popped in my mind right away. My freshman year, I met these great group of guys from Minnesota who lived on my floor. They had reached out to me and told me they had started a Bible study for students in Greek life, along with some other girls I knew. So I decided to reach out to one of my friends and went to the first Bible study. This was truly the start of the change of my life. Reconnecting my faith with God and being in a community of other students was really powerful to me. and they helped me in so many different ways. And they inspired me to help others. As I mentioned briefly before, my mental health wasn't great my first 2 years at college, and I knew, of course, of a lot of other students who were struggling with their mental health too. One day, now my junior year, roaming the halls at Tippie, I saw a perfect opportunity to help others. It was an application for a new mental health advisory board at Tippie called Tippie Thrive. I thought this would be a great opportunity for me, so I decided to apply. And after going through a few interviews, ultimately, I was accepted. Being in Tippie Thrive the last 2 years has been one of the most fulfilling things I've done. Being able to help students in Tippie, not just in an academic way, but in more of a holistic way, has been very powerful to me. My junior year, being a part of Tippie Thrive and going to this Bible study was one step of growth for me. But coming into my senior year, this year, I knew I could do more, and I knew I was meant for more. So I thought to myself, what else could I do? I thought, maybe I should get a job. So I applied for probably 50 different jobs around campus, and after hearing back from a few of them, not only did I accept one job, I accepted two. This past year, I worked in the UPO office at Tippie, helping academic advisors in various different tasks. This job has been very fulfilling to me, and I've improved my time management skills. In my other job, I work as a front desk attendant at the rec. This job helps me interact with a lot of diverse groups of individuals and have given me many opportunities. Thinking to myself, laying in my bed that one morning, I never thought I'd be here. I've done a complete 180 and completely changed my life. The saying goes, it takes an army, and it truly did take an army of people to help me. As a Tippie student, I've spent countless hours analyzing graphs, searching for the perfect trend. And what I've come to realize is that growth isn't always represented by the perfect upward straight line of a graph. Instead, it's actually represented by a fluctuating graph with ups and downs and peaks and valleys. And what I've come to understand is in these ups and downs, these moments of uncertainty and challenge is where true growth happens. Like these graphs, my college journey has had many, many ups and downs. But in the end, it's not about the trajectory. It's about the resilience and determination to keep growing, no matter what the graph may look like. Thank you.
That was Patrick Fornatto at our Spring 2024 Story Lab Showcase in downtown Iowa City. You can watch Patrick's story and learn more about Tippie Thrive, the student-led program that normalizes mental health and builds wellness and resilience skills, via the links in this week's show notes. Patrick graduated with degrees in finance and business analytics and now works in sales at Oracle NetSuite. His story reminds us that mental health is both a personal journey and a community effort, and that students leading these programs can make a meaningful difference. Now let's go back to Patrick Fan one last time for a final tip E for you to remember in your work.
So I would say, watch out. In a year or two, we should be able to have this kind of a conversational or AI tools that are available that can potentially going to be used not only to help the individuals to deal with or assess their mental state. At the same time, we could potentially using these AI companion tools to help them to deal with all their mental health issues. So this could be a companion robot. This could be a companion like software or app that you can interact with on a daily basis. To me, I think the AI is transforming the lives of the people who are suffering from the mental health issues. So just keep an open eye on those and then try to embrace these to benefit their lives.
AI has an incredible predictive and analytical power, but it can also support the human side of our lives in deeply meaningful ways, like promoting emotional wellness and resilience in teens. Throughout this season of Tippie Leads, we've explored AI in the workplace, in social media, in finance, and in education. Today's episode highlights that this technology can also make a tangible impact in communities and individuals' lives. Whether it's managing information overload, making ethical decisions, or supporting mental health, the lessons from this season are clear. AI is powerful, but it's most impactful when paired with human judgment, creativity, and care. This episode of Tippie Leads was written and produced by me, Nick Westergaard, with special thanks to Patrick Fan, his son Winston, and Tippie alum Patrick Fornatto. To learn more about our faculty guests, their research, and more, go to tippie.uiowa.edu/Tippie Leads. If you like this episode, share it with a friend or coworker, or better yet, subscribe to the show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you like to listen. And if you're feeling generous, consider leaving us a rating or review to help others find the show. This is Nick Westergaard signing off. On behalf of everyone at Tippie, thanks for listening, and go Hawks!
You may know you're listening to this show along the Marketing Podcast Network, but did you know there are other great shows on MPN to help your business? Hennika Watkis-Porter hosts The Entrepreneurial You, empowering entrepreneurs with insights on leadership, business, and success. Hennika, tell listeners what to expect from your show.
So we provide innovative business strategies and practical solutions to common entrepreneurial challenges.
And where can people subscribe?
Find us at hennikawatkisporter.com, as well as the Marketing Podcast Network at marketingpodcasts.net, or search for it wherever you get your podcasts.
You heard her. Go subscribe.